I keep hoping I can give you this information, which is healthcare disclosure. I'm Dr. Donna. I'm the middle of three sisters, and we are all born during the mystic days of March. And if you trace medical history, you'll find that the doctors were the mystics. So being born between March 5th and March 20th. And when we look at life, it's not random. And there's only two intentions. And you can tell by monitoring the conversation what part of the cycle you're on. And so if there's a breaking down of things, it's the downward after the climax of a cycle. It doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether it's a book, a movie, a conversation, or something deeper. Everything operates in a fractal world. And if we understand the power of 10, then we can begin to ground our feet and our torso right through the perineum to the earth, and not to consume her, but to awaken, because we're actually creating this world. And so every time we ascend through the Aquarian age, specific people will incarnate into bodies. And many of us understand that we chose our parents. We even remember it. And when we come into this world, we're aware that everything is vibrating. Everything is spinning. And as we begin to understand the way the torsion field works, it really is a flow of infinite light. And light differentiates into matter through the spoken word and the written word. And that's sound, right? Sight's going to be, connected to phenolics for those of you that have studied healthcare. You understand that when we get to the molecular structure, there's a 3-ring hydrocarbon called a phenolic. And that's what phenols are. A 3-ring hydrocarbon it's a water bond with 3. And so every substance on the planet has a phenolic component to it. And it's what gives substances their color, their smell, their taste, the shape, all of it. So there's a bunch of phenolics, and now the word terpene has become epidemic. But what people don't understand is that when we're talking about remembering who and what we are, we want to understand that the intentional field operates either through breaking things down, which is a focus on what's not known. If we were to look at the circadian clock, it's going to be the repair cycle between 3 p.m. and 3 a.m. And that's when you're supposed to surrender and let the day go. And when you do that, the insight that comes through is incredible. And so that really is what revelation is. And when I say that, people say, do you mean in the biblical sense? No, I mean in common sense. But if you want to refer to the Bible, you're going to have to understand that everything in the Bible is code. It's all in the words. And so to come to our senses requires that we begin to use our 5 senses. Step into the pheromone world. Understand everything that you smell triggers your olfactory. And so whether it's essential oils or something else, whatever we smell is directly connected to our small intestine and thus our heart brain. And so the sense of smell is huge. The ears, that's the kidneys. And the ground matrix regulation system is the flow of water moving in and out of the cell. So yes, the matrix is real. If you are an alchemist, then likely you've been working in the field of bioenergetic medicine for a while. I don't know. Maybe you're an identical twin. Because we don't know what we don't know until we do know. So the code doesn't lie. And nothing about life is random. And the only way you'll know this for yourself is if first you attune to the 24-hour circadian cycle, which means you're actually feeling the flow, the shift of light, the repair cycle moving throughout your body. And you would never work against it, ever. And so the new system for the world that's going to bring people out of this polarized state is remembering how to participate in reading code. Okay? And so anyone can participate in reading code. You just have to start living your life in the intentional field, in the flow of life. Which means, well, we've been saying this in healthcare seminars forever. As we're working inside of a workshop, we'll say, if you'll start to hear this murmuring where people are trying to figure out or problem solve something from the outside in. And that's reverse polarity. It's, it's trying to fix something. It's a focus on the unreal. It's a focus on what's not there. And so we have to get the North Pole guiding light. We have to go back to the intentional field and remember that we're living in a fractal world. And life is not random. And so if someone has some symptom in their body, it's the body talking to us. And then someone will say, well, what if it's genetic? Yeah, what if it is? What do you think the 5th step on the healing template is? Right? We went into the miasm shamanism. That's what we went into. And at first we gave you the information and a way to test people for them, but never were we saying to try and clear the miasm from the outside in, because if you numb people down so that they can't feel their body, then they have to go to their head and compartmentalize. Good, bad, right, wrong. It's all duality. And so the first cardinal that has to do with sunrise every day, this 12-step, these are the 12 stairs to heaven. Everybody's heard these songs, right? The Golden Age of Aquarius. All these different songs are related. So this is Aries. Okay, so Aries is grounding the head. It looks like this. And you want to do that with your first breath, which means you let your brain ground through your spine. And whatever the body is revealing, whatever's in the room, whatever's in your mind, whatever it is, you don't want to shift it, okay? Not at first. First you want to harvest, okay? And harvesting means greeting the day in its fullness, but then taking care of your body to anchor it in the light cycle. So we've got all kinds of tools, a dream codex. I mean, these kinds of things are what we used as identical twins as kids, is to understand the symbolism. So life is not random. If you have a sibling or a loved one that is on the bridge, the thymus gland looks like Aries. But the thymus gland right here, this is the seat of the threefold flame. So just think about the shape of the thymus looks like an upside down butterfly. in a cocoon, and it shrivels in childhood. And my first career as a young mother was after a near-death experience where I actually learned about vertical integration from the feet up, which is child development. It's basically being able to hold the second womb. And to be able to do that, parents have to know that DNA is actually the spine. It's quantumly entangled, okay? And what that means is that you're never separate from your child. And there aren't any secrets. If there are secrets, it actually blocks sacred secretion, which is the vertical integration of Kundalini through the first 12 years of life. And so what kids need now is they want to understand how their body works. And there's no reason not to give it to them, especially if we're giving little girls a fertility scope so that they can begin to monitor the first few days that they are fertile. And once they do that with a circadian clock, they're going to be able to feel the shift inside without dividing on anyone. And as we do that, we're going to begin to see Mother Earth become the alpha female once again. Anytime we have gotten people pregnant, which happened right when we opened our doors, we started getting people pregnant. All we've done is given them the circadian clock and support for them to get into a daily rhythm that felt really good, where they felt shifts happening one right after the other. All right, so inspiring health from the inside out has always been our motto. And right now, everyone is emerging from a near-death experience. Everyone is. We've known since the 90s when, I think it was the 90s, maybe the 80s, when Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers came out, that when there was the loss of a home, the loss of a job, or the loss of a key relationship, it has the same symptom picture as a near-death experience and coming back and having to reintegrate. There's a grieving process, but behind the grief and the trauma is shock. And so shock takes the feet out. And enlightenment has to do with standing in the light cycle. So to bring such joy and pleasure right now is as easy as being able to understand your iris is connected to the zodiac. The zodiac is connected to your five senses, because what we're talking about is planets, right? And so they're made up of minerals. And everything the earth is a combination of all of them. And so when you look at these 12, this is going to be the 12 tribes. If you're religious, it's going to be the 12 bloodlines. It's going to be the 12 cranial nerves, the 12 zones on the sexual organs, and anywhere you have a circle, okay? The other part is to have the staff. And I know that it's kind of difficult to see this, but we did another video the other day, which is on social media, I think it's on YouTube, that went over this. And it basically, the 10 glands, see this? So the vertical integration of consciousness means that each person has to go through the maturing process. And in doing that, we have to integrate our shadow. And so there are alchemist families where one sister, like our older sister, who was born on Aphrodite's birthday, spring equinox, she went through the needle's eye in 2007. And my identical twin sister and I have been in contact with her ever since. And we've been downloading the crystalline codex. And our dad's name is Merlin. And our grandfather's name is Merlin. And we spent a lot of time in Glastonbury, right? Seat of the Knights Templar. So get ready to play a game. Look at the Facebook word post today. We're here to bring consciousness.